Now comes the finale. Who do you want to speak now? There is only one answer. S, R, S.
So before that, next one is we have the people whom we mentored. They've already spoken. Now we want the very senior people in the industry to say a few words, and we have, of course, Dr. Maitra. We have Mr. Jitendra Balakrishnan. He is the one who supported the Reliance Refinery project from IDBI, and IDBI was the first bank to give loans, a financial institution to give the loan. He is going to say a few words, and we have something from Mr. V.V. Surya Rao, who was the president at Reliance. He could not come personally because he is on a personal leave in Hyderabad. So he had said something, and Mr. P.M.S. Prasad is in. He wanted to come here today, but he had to leave for US urgently. He just called a few minutes ago. He sent something. So we just want to see before we hear from the Guru, Mr. Setlur.
I think I have already used up, as SRS would say, my quota of time and schedule. So, without further ado, Jitendra Balakrishnan.
Thank you. At the outset, thank you very much for inviting me here to honor Mr. Setlur. I find, looking at this crowd here, there's so much of love and affection for you. And frankly speaking, I think your name is very synonymous with, I won't say Reliance Industries, I'll go back to Reliance Petroleum. And unfortunately, I have not had the pleasure of working with you. But I still remember the first time I met you was with the Ambani brothers, and where you made a presentation to a group of 7-8 chairmen. It was the start of the Reliance Petroleum funding. And why I remember that was because during the presentation which was made, one of the chairmen started laughing. And he said, you're going to make this with these type of internal generations. How will you ever make these internal generations when you have so much of competition in the polyester industry? Incidentally, that time, Reliance was only a polyester manufacturer. So with so much of competition in the polyester industry, how are you going to get those internal generations? And so Mukesh Sandhi said, just show the competition. So they showed this 7-8 companies, which were the blue chips of the stock exchange those days. And I still remember very well, clearly, they said, he told the chairman, sir, I think by the turn of the century, except for one, the rest will not be there. At the turn of the century, except for one, which still remains, the rest of them are all gone, of which 3 of them are in your food itself. There's a lot of love, affection, and fear I find in this crowd. But there's one or two things which I picked up while I was listening, and that is, you're a great mentor, sir. You have tremendous execution skills. You are very demanding and very ruthless in your execution. And you drive people to extraordinary performances. In this context, I'll just go back a little bit into my own life. I was blessed because I studied among some of the greatest educationists. I worked with some of the greatest administrators. I worked with some of the greatest bankers. And I'm privileged to work with some of the finest industries, that is that India has produced. I'm very privileged there. But there's one thing which is very common, one trait which is very common among all these people. These great people, there's one thing very common. And that is a tremendous intuition. And number two, very ruthless, very, very ruthless execution of a vision which they have. So each one of them was extremely ruthless and demanding in getting certain things done. So these people built some of the greatest institutions. You, sir, I believe, are among them. That trait is something which is important. Because, frankly speaking, the world will tell you that it's not the goodies, it is not popularity. Popularity, being goody-goody, is the enemy of greatness. They are absolutely the enemy of greatness. They are the enemy of creativity. They are the enemy of achievement. So, sir, it's wonderful to see and hear people talking about qualities which you have I have imbibed into them also. And let me wish you many, many years of excellent active life going forward. To you and your family. Thank you very much.
I just, before we go to the next, what we have, I just would like to say something. Mr. Setlur is not only ruthless with us, even he used to be ruthless with the Ambanis, okay? I mean, sir, with your permission, let me tell you, one day, I was with him, he had given a report to Mr. Mukesh Ambani, and by mistake, Mr. Mukesh Ambani had said, Setlur, why don't you give me a bigger report? Okay, Mr. Setlur's immediate reaction was, Mukesh, please give me back that report. I'll put some blank sheets, make it bigger and give it to you. This is from Mr. V.V. Surya Rao. Okay, he's the president of Reliance Industries. So what he says is Mr. Setlur is ruthless and relentless driver towards excellence. He's one of the greatest trainers of chemical engineers. Sir, all of us are here. He calls spade a double spade. He's extremely ruthless. I mean, he can tell anything straight on anybody's face. Reliance Jamnagar refinery makes maximum amount of profits. It's thanks to the configuration that is finalized by Mr. Setlur. He pushes more and more opportunity crudes into the refinery, and he takes away all the comforts of the operations. See, in life, everywhere, everybody wants to work with a comfort level. And that comfort level is what he tries to take from the operations and ensure that the company makes more profits.
This is a message from PMS Prasad, who was also, along with Setlur, was one of the key figures for the Jamnagar refinery. He says, if the mind is agile and sharp, body will be active, healthy and mobile. Mr. Setlur is a living example of how active one can be for his age. We wish him more than a century of happy, healthy and active life, and makes useful contribution to the society and the country, and of course a little bit to Reliance. What SRS told PMS Prasad in mid-90s, there is no age restriction for learning or acquiring knowledge. You can start at 1, and I see there are a few 1 people, and you can start at 100. I don't think there is any 100. Is there? I don't know whether he remembers or not. Now Setlur will always say, I always remember. But he was trying to bring some alphabets and simple words in a very big font size. I tried to assist him in that task, but also became curious why he was doing that. He said he would use these papers to start teaching his grandchild, who was 1 year old, and said the quoted words in the paragraph. And now, I think we are all standing for a long time, so let's hear the master.
Someone said.
Thanks a lot. I'm not sure if where to begin. One of the major factors for success is luck. In the case of all the oil companies, you had a locked up refinery with a fixed supplier of crude and a fixed market to supply. In Jamnagar, we had the rare opportunity of any crude supply and any market. So it gave you an opportunity to optimize the capital investment program, which had never been done before. In those days, we used to have something called a Haverly system of linear programming, which cost something like $500,000. And I didn't think the Ambanis would like very much to spend that amount of money. Maybe they would have, but if it didn't work, I'm sure my life would have been hell. So, my daughter Pushpa used to study mathematics in BA, and I was going through one of her textbooks on on optimization, and I just studied a little bit of linear programming, the simplest algorithm, etc. So then I decided that get some IIT students. There was a gentleman called Ramaswamy, and a lot of other people who are already here. And I said, look, we need to make a LP model. And none of them had heard of it or knew much about it. But I said, don't worry, we will make it somehow. He managed to get a mixed integer linear programming model for 2,000 rupees. So I got this money paid by Sanjay Mashruwala. And that's how we started the whole thing. There was a lot of resentment towards this method of approach, because people from UOP and Universal Products, all of those people said, you never do this, you do it only for optimizing operations, but not for capital investment. But anyway, fortunately management supported us completely and we were able to move ahead. That's of course the start of the whole thing, and then everything else is history, as they say. And it's essentially because we had top class stuff coming out from IITs and UDCP that we were able to exploit this talent. And giving them freedom, of course, is part of the program. And I think I need to thank them more than they need to thank me. Thanks a lot.
Okay, before we have dinner, okay, we have a couple of things. Mr. Setlur always used to talk about all issues on earth, okay, and as a tribute to him, and as